to have a wealthy, foolish person. A person who is unwise, a person who doesn't know how to run their lives well, but are fully loaded with money. You don't want to be that kind of a person. So wisdom is better than money. How do I know? Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 12. We find from there that wisdom is better than money. It says wisdom is a defense, as money is a defense. But the excellence of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to those who have it. What the scripture says here is that both wisdom and money can protect you, they defend you. And as I said in my introductory remarks, when you have money, you feel protected, you feel safe. When it's not there, you feel like the wind can blow you away. So money is a defense and wisdom is a defense. But the excellence of knowledge is that not only does wisdom defend you, but it also gives life to you whilst it's defending you. So if you put wisdom and money on the same platter, yes, both of them can defend, but wisdom has a notch over money because wisdom has life in addition to the defense. So wisdom is better than money. And in all you're getting, get wisdom. Why is wisdom better than money? Why? Because money ignores God, but wisdom fears God. I've come to realize that the richer people get, the more they ignore God from their lives. They don't trust him again. They don't pray that much because they trust in the money to solve their problem. So as people get more and more money, they take God out of the equation of their lives. They move away from worship. They move away from devotion to God. They sometimes even begin to feel that they are their own God. So money makes people ignore God, but wisdom makes people fear God. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. On that score, wisdom is better than money because money takes you away from God sometimes, but wisdom brings you closer to the Lord. Secondly, money is careless. Wisdom carefully makes choices. When people increase in wealth, they become very careless in decision making because they become very overconfident. They don't care the outcome. They don't care about the consequences because somehow they feel if anything goes wrong, I can solve it. But when a person is wise, they don't become overconfident. They confidently or they carefully make their choices. Wisdom is better than money. When people have money, you can almost tell by the way they talk, by the way they move. They go to places boldly. They talk boldly. When you tell them about a problem, they say, no problem. It can be solved. Don't worry about it. It can be done. They don't carefully analyze issues because they feel that the money they have can solve all the problems. And I've seen people with a lot of Money is arrogant. Oh no, third is money makes you a target. Wisdom defends you during attack. When you are poor, your enemies are very few. Who targets you? Nobody. Even the thieves become your friends. They don't come to your house. You can go out from your house when you're poor and not lock your door, and you will come back and find everything intact. Because who wants to steal from you? What they will steal is worthless. There's nothing to take away from you, but make money and start having money, then you become a target. People want to take from you. Sometimes even your best friends become your worst enemies. People who used to like you start gossiping about you and talking about you. Buy a new car and you're going to make enemies. So one of the things you're going to notice is that when you have money, you become a target of attack. Newspapers want to write about you. Everybody wants to get a piece of what you have. Lawyers want to take from you. People want to sue you. Have you heard anybody sue a poor person? What are you going to get from it? You don't sue poor people. You can sue them all you want. It's like squeezing water out of stone. There is nothing coming out. But when you have money, you become a target. People are going to target you. They're going to tell you lies. They're going to deceive you. They're going to try to do whatever they can to take money from you. So how do you protect yourself from the target? Through wisdom. Wisdom will defend you. Wisdom will protect you. It will help you to discern the true intents of people. It will help you to walk in such a way that you don't fall into the traps that have been set for you. It will help you to guide your steps wisely. Because one of the things you're going to notice, and it's later on I'll talk about it, is that when you have money, you're going to have a lot of people come to you. And you can't tell who is genuine and who is not. Who likes you and who likes your money and not you. You can't tell. But wisdom helps you to deal wisely with people. It helps you to be able to judge people's actions, to judge people's motives, to be able to tell where people are going with statements they are making about you. Wisdom is better than money because it protects you from the targets and the attacks of people. Number 4, wisdom walks in God's grace, but money is arrogant. Those who walk in wisdom trust in God. Those who trust in money trust in themselves. Money can make you arrogant. Have you heard the way rich people talk? And even the way they laugh. When a poor person laughs, he doesn't want anybody to hear the laughter because he's afraid of the consequences. What if they hear me laughing? So when poor people laugh, they laugh very, very in a measured sense. But when rich people laugh, they laugh from their stomach. Ha, 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 ha. And they go on, ha, 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 on and on and on. They don't care what you think. They're laughing, and you can do nothing about it. And there's a positive to that, but somehow money makes you arrogant. You go to a place, you want people to know who you are. And when there are roadblocks, you get angry. You get upset. You wonder, why are people trying to bring roadblocks? Why? Who do they think they are? Because you've got money. Money makes people arrogant. There's a level of arrogance that every rich person has. Everybody, no exception. Certain arrogance. It comes with money. If you don't have money, you can never say you are humble. A poor person has no choice. You don't choose between pride and humility because you have no choice. You must be humble. It is incumbent on you to be humble. But sometimes when I hear people say, and look at those poor, humble people, those two never go together. Poor people are not humble. They haven't been tested yet. So don't go about saying, as far as we are just a poor, humble family. You are a poor family, but we can't tell whether you are humble. We can only tell whether you are humble when you make money. Because money will amplify your true character. What is hidden will come out. There are poor men who say, as for me, my wife, I love my wife. Who tells you? You have no option. Most of you have no option, and you can't finance another person. You are broke as you are, and you can handle it. So don't tell me you love your wives. You've not been tested yet. The test comes when you have money and money to spare. Then we will tell whether you love your wife or not. But in your poor self, just love your wife as it is, but don't pride yourself in your humility. And don't go about telling people you are humble until you have money and loads of it. Then we'll see whether your laughter will change, your walking will change, your talking will change, your friends will change, or you will change. Now, if you have all of that and you still talk with respect, with courtesy, and you still treat people respectfully, then you can say, and we can say, you are a humble person. That's the only time you can say somebody is humble, not when they have nothing. So all of you who have no money, we don't know who you are. And believe you me, if you know any poor person, you don't know them. You don't know a poor person. You don't know them. You have no idea who they are. Haven't we all been shocked by people who made money? You say, I never knew that's how he was. That's how he was. He just couldn't finance his intentions. All right. So wisdom walks in God's grace. Wisdom says, I am who I am, not because of what I have by money. I am who I am because of what God has given to me. When a person has that mindset, that it's just by grace and grace alone that I live and move and have my being, that no matter what I have and where I get to, everything belongs to God. To God be the glory. When a person can truly ascribe all his achievements to God, then they have wisdom, and then you can be sure that no money can change them. But if a person trusts their family, their education, their good looks, and their smart abilities, then you can never be sure, because when money comes, their character will radically transform from what you know now. Wisdom is better than money. All right? The second thing that is better than money is a good name. A good name. A good name is better than money. Proverbs chapter 22 verse 1 says, a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, loving favor rather than silver and gold. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. In other words, if money or great riches on one side and a good name on the other side, and you had to make a choice, your first choice should be what? Good name. Good name, not money. All right. So a good name is better than money. Wisdom is better than money. A good name is better than money. In all your seeking, seek for a good name, a good character, a good reputation. Why? Because money intimidates. A good name earns genuine respect. When you bully people with it, you can threaten people, But when you have a good name, then you have genuine respect. Just because people say yes sir to you doesn't mean they respect you. It's simply because their livelihood depends on you. Haven't you gone to places where people are always insulting the boss, but when they're in front of you, they smile? He's got money. They're intimidated by the money, but they have no respect. But one of the things that amaze me, which is a bad attitude though, is that sometimes I go to shops and the store people whose salary depends on the employer who has employed them will show you ways to do things. And almost always they have something nasty to say about the shopkeeper or the store owner. Oh, these people, they like money. Oh, don't money about them. But it's their liking money that gives you money anyway. It's a bad attitude. But then it also shows the other side that yes, they are intimidated. They will run when that person shows up, but right before or behind them, or when they are with other people, they have no respect whatsoever for them. A good name and genuine respect. Money will bully people, to intimidate people, and that's why a good name is better. It's better to have a good name than for people just to fear you because you've got money. Money intimidates, a good name and genuine respect. Money corrupts, a good name is incorruptible. Money corrupts. It's amazing what people would do for money. There,
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wheresoever you're finding all this morning from my side. It's a pleasant welcome you to the Riverside Talk, and let me welcome you to today's edition of the Riverside Talk. I'll be joined by some of my colleagues this morning from my end to drive you through as relates to some of the happenings within our nations, like we're in the global village. And good evening once again, and welcome to the Riverside Talk. My name is Jake Sinsuo, and coming on shortly, we'll have some of our guests joining us live for today's edition of the Riverside Talk. Don't go away, stay tuned as we drive you through on today's edition of the Riverside Talk.
the show on in the television, I think it's the US, where people are offered money to do things. And they will start by offering them money. Maybe we'll give you $100 if you would strip naked. And the people will say, oh, what do you think? And sometimes they don't even want to hear. And they increase the amount. We'll give you $200. They say, oh, no, $500, 1,000. Then they start considering. And they keep raising the money until it reaches a threshold where the person now says, okay, I'll do it. And they do it for the money. Money is powerful. You have no idea how it can influence your life. That's why it can corrupt you. You can't go about saying, as for me, I'll never take bribe. As for me, I'm just a patriotic Ghanaian. You sure? Well, if it's $50, you say, I don't like bribe. If it
Thank you very much. Money corrupts people. Money is powerful. If you don't know, if someone don't have money, you don't know whether they are powerful. Money is very, very powerful, as the preacher may have said it this morning from my end. Good morning and welcome to the 23rd edition of the Riverside Talk CEO, and it's a pleasure to have you this hour. You are muted.
From my end.
The network is very bad, CEO. So today we'll be looking at we'll be discussing variety of issues as relates to the boss, the activities that is unfolding in Liberia regarding the drugs issues. The 19 million worth of drugs are arrested at the Liberia Robert International Airport. And we'll be discussing some critical issues as relates to that. What should be done not for the reoccurrence of this to happen. And we'll be having a fascinating show today, and we'll be discussing squarely about some of the happenings. As you can remember today, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Jeremiah Kwanko, keynote spoke today at the Civil Servant anniversary today at San Nicole. What are some of the burning issues? Who are those that are in attendance? So we'll have some meaningful conversations tonight. Just get glued to your monitors as we go about today's edition of our Riverside Talk. My name is Jackson once again. Just get glued as we go about to discuss some of those happenings this hour. Let's keep following the show.
What if it's $1 million? You say, Now I have to pray about this. If it gets to 500, you don't pray about it, you take it. Money corrupts. Money corrupts. That's why when you're only looking for money, you can easily be corrupted. But when you are looking for a good name, a good reputation, then your name becomes more important than money. So if you're going to do anything that will tarnish a good name, you don't do it because you are pursuing a good name instead of money. A good name is better than riches. And for many of us here, we would do things that today we say would never do. Some of us will sit here and say, I would never smuggle cocaine. You sure? If it's for $100, maybe you will not do it. 200, you say, I wouldn't do it. 1,000, what if I die? 50,000, 100,000, hey, this thing, it can solve problems. I'll just go one trip and it will solve all my problems. Money corrupts. Money corrupts. So if you follow money, you will easily be corrupted. Somebody will pay you a higher price, and all your principles will tumble. Your fears will vanish. But a good name says, nothing is worth my name. My name is more important than all the riches of the world. You can give me everything, but I want my name more than riches. And so the scripture says a good name is to be chosen. That means you must make a deliberate choice that I want a good name rather than money. If you don't make that choice, one of these days you will be corrupted. Married women have had to sleep with people who said, I love my husband. I would never do that. It's an abomination in our family. We don't do that. In your family, you don't do that until somebody offers you a brand new, whatever, a brand new house. It's nothing. We are all adults, consenting adults. I will buy you a house. Then you begin to say, choose a good name. Don't wait for the temptation. Make a choice today. I love a good name. I desire a better reputation, a good name, rather than money. Somebody say, I choose a good name. You have to make that choice. Until you make that choice, you will be corrupted. Somehow, somewhere, somebody will find your price and pay you your price. And the price is right. Money depreciates. That's the third thing about money and different between money and good name.
So thank you very much. And money depreciates, but goodness remains as it is. So tonight we'll be discussing about the current happenings in our countries, Liberia, as relates to the drugs issues. If you all are aware, a drugs worth 119 million was arrested at Rwanda International Airport, and there have been some issues behind. At first, the LDA said that they were not naming store that was in connection to the drugs because they want to get at the forefront of the drugs issues. Who are those that are bringing the drugs into the countries, and what mechanism will the security apparatus put in place to bring the perpetrator to book? But as we speak, one of the board members of Nukai was suspended of recent by His Excellency President Joseph Zuma Baraka because he was linked to the drug situations at the Raw International Airport. As you all, as you may be aware, drugs is one of the cardinal issues that is confronting our populations in Liberia. Drugs have been one of the biggest situations that we are confronted with in our countries. And these issues about drugs coming into our countries, those that are breaking the drugs are people that are sitting down living their better life, whilst those that are consuming the drugs are the ones who have been confronted with the realities. People are calling them Zokos and all sorts of names because those who are importing the drugs into our countries are those in higher authority, those that have the resources. So, CEO, welcome back.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you. You are okay.
All right. So let me say good evening to our listeners and good evening to you. Good morning to you from my end. It's a pleasure once again being here on the platform. I am, driving home. I'll be using the phone until I can get home to get on the big screen. But the topic we have on our discussion tonight when it comes to the issue of drugs in Liberia is a serious one, but with the seizure of that over $19.2 million worth of goods that was seized at the airport, is that discussion is becoming very interesting these days gradually, because even the suspension of one of the board members from Loka, who was one of the person of interest. I saw a post. I think it was on Front Page Africa page where that King, Mr. King is saying, "Why suspend me, Mr. President? I will name the big hand behind. I will talk, and I will name the big hands behind the whole drug saga." So that is that caption alone is very much interesting, and I think that we're about to see some interesting thing happening in Liberia real soon with that. Seeing if actually he meant what he said by naming those that were involved into the saga.
So that's it. Like drugs issue is one of the sticky issues in Liberia. I can remember back then when President Joseph Braga took over, there were too many protests in like protesting against drugs, and the president championed the cause for drugs that drugs will be attacked under the administration. There will be no room for those who are bringing drugs into the country. And I think it was something like everyone was impressed with. And at first, the first LDA commander in Ibrahim Kroma and that of his deputy, there were some rigmaroles within the LDA. They were suspended and later on replaced. And this issue of drugs has been something like people are in authority because the number of the amount we are talking about, it cannot be brought into this country by a mere man who don't have any resources. There should always be a big hand behind this situation of bringing drugs into our country. So we are following the process gradually, and as you can recall, CEO Martin Corey have been releasing episode 1, episode 2 of the drug situation, how a drugs enter into the countries, who were those that went to collect the drugs, and all of those issues have been something like how did Martin Colley got those informations when the security apparatus, the joint security apparatus are probing to investigate how drugs enter into this country. So one of the major issues we should look at too is the security issues in Liberia. the government at first, the security apparatus at first said they were not disclosing the information of all those are in connection to the drugs because they want to investigate. How can the media institution get all the CC footage coming from the airport? All the drugs enter the airport, who all receive the drugs? This should be information that should be in possession of the security apparatus to go through it and come up with those that in link with this connection of the drugs issues. But you see a media practitioner releasing every information relating to the drugs. So for me, I think this kind of issue will compromise the investigations. People who should be giving factual information as related to the drugs will take a bad step. And in Liberia, we say the justice system in Liberia is no clean no clean clothes and no big hands and know where the money coming from and all of those things. So we're looking forward as to see how this drug situation will happen, because at first it happened on a drug regime. A huge consumer just entered the free port of Monrovia. We don't know who all those that brought the drugs issue were free and all of those things. We're looking at this situation as relates to how the government will look into this, how those who brought drugs into this country will be handled, will be dealt with in accordance with the rules of law. Because Liberia, according to the new law that passed, drug is non-bailable crime. And the barrage of drugs are brought into this country, and it should be something like the population, the country should look up to, and to see how best the bringing of drugs in Liberia will be eradicated. They cannot use Liberia as cartel for drugs or a center state for transporting drugs into a free country. Because from information we are getting, the first consignment left the country, and the last one that should have left the country was arrested. How did the drugs enter the country? Who brought the drugs? These are some of the issues we'll be looking at tonight. So it's up to you if you have anything to say.
Yeah, so, this whole thing, in the last podcast that I had on Sunday, this is one of the things I spoke about. The issue of this drug going to put Liberia on the spotlight. Not even going to air. So already put Liberia on the spotlight in the sense that all eyes, including some international investigators, are looking into this. Now, with our security apparatus, what I see to it too is that honesty pays a lot. And over the time, we've been sounding this alarm that our security apparatus need to be well taken care of, so that we would not have this kind of occurrence in the country. And this $19.2 million worth of drugs that got seized at the airport, it has bring the whole picture of Liberia out now, and people might be looking at Liberia somehow different. We saw the issue during former President George Weah's time, and serious discussion were on. But if we compare the two regimes, there's a vast difference. And the vast difference here is that with this regime, there are actions taken against people that, their names were brought to book. And not just this current one, but if you follow the track of this administration, you realize that whenever things happen, the government takes action. The government takes action, and then to go through the investigation. If your name is clear, they will call you back. And I can remember some folks that were suspended from other positions who their case were not related to drugs for corruption. Their names were clear, and then some have been recalled back. But this is another serious issue that we Liberians, and I said it last time, this issue is all of us collective effort, not just the security, not just the government, but we, the citizens ourselves, should be the one to collaborate and contribute to eradicating drugs out of Liberia. If somebody will say it is not my relative, or I don't know anybody that do drugs, you might be lying, because one way or the other, even if it is not your direct relative, you might have known someone who is affected with this. So it is all of us fight, and I think the security too should be transparent in doing what they have to do on a daily basis. This is a case that at least after a certain amount of time, we should be able to get notice or maybe like a press briefing as to how far they've gone. I don't know how confirmed is the information that the Justice Ministry is leaving from people of interest to suspect into this whole case. So we have to take it very serious as Liberians and make sure that we are all cooperating collectively. So that's my take for that.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, CEO. So, like we said, those people are connected to those just issues because this just issue is not something. It's not a new story. It's an old story. The people are bringing the drugs into the countries. Majority of Liberian youth are at the graveyard, and too many things are happening in our countries. Lack of employment, but yet and still you see variety of drugs entering the countries. The border is vulnerable, to be honest. The border is very vulnerable. People, the border, all the borders within Liberia to the airports, the local borders, all of those places are vulnerable. Because how can you have a security apparatus that is pay less than 200 US dollar? And you know, drugs is all about money. People who bring those drugs into the countries, they have the resources. They can they have the resources to bribe the police officer. You are making 150 and somebody is going to give you $1,000 within, let's say within 1 or 2 hours operations. What will you do? You have your family who to take care of. The only way the drugs issue will be eradicated.
Jackson, to a point, what is more interesting is that those cartels, they have a very strong network. The dealers, the drugs dealers, their network is very strong financially and they are very much connected. So if they're moving around with those things, they are not just, they have, and I said it last time, don't be surprised. We on this $19 million investigation. Another one will soon pop up because attention is under $19 million and people not really focusing. If we look at our port of entry, let's say our zero bullet point, the major bullet point that people attention on, you're talking about Luguatu, Ganta port of entry, Bo Waterside, Lofa, Grand Gide, Mutu. But then these are areas that we have connection locally that people find. You go across, come by, you know, there are entry points that we're not taking into consideration very seriously. And on the other hand, it's a loophole that those guys can travel easily. Because if we're talking about airport, then what more about those bullet points? So those guys are connected, well connected, very calculated, a smart group of people that move around with those people when it comes to the issue of drugs. So that fight is all of us fight. We Liberians, it's all of us fight. It's not just the security apparatus, every citizen collective effort.
Yes, so that's it. We all had seen the same thing because where in this world where you talk about people bringing drugs into this country, the first thing is the drugs enter the country as per information that we are gathered. People take the drugs from the airport with all this the screening process. How did they pass through the screening process? How you identifying the drugs? And the drugs spend, like according to sources, spend 2 to 3 days in Liberia. Took the drugs from the airport, carrying a warehouse, and spent some time. You exported some from Liberia, and the last consignment was just about to leave until it was whistle were blown and they were arrested. So this issue about drugs in Liberia, the cartels have influence in the countries. They have connections within the government of Liberia because this kind of drugs, if it were a poor man who bring the drugs into the country that don't have resources, they're going to be arrested. Can you imagine people like selling few opinions? If the LTE arrest them, it will parade the people. LTE will parade those people all around with the drugs, taking their picture, permitting with it all over. But can you imagine up to this time, we are only hearing names. We are not seeing them being displayed on social media or on LTE website or on their Facebook page. But the names are circulating like this one was involved, the one was suspended, this one, this. These are all happening because they are bigger hands, they have connection within the government. They have people that they are communicating with, they are protecting their image and all of those things. But people who are taking those drugs, their image are not being protected. There are people who are at the graveyard. There are people who are there attacking people in the night, jacking people's phone. How can we go about eradicating this thing when those that are bringing these drugs into the country are being dealt with differently? So this drugs issue is a whole game in Liberia. People are riding on it like every time they have sources in the government. Every government account have their own people that they can work with to see how best they can bring the drugs into our countries. So, like President Joseph Baga said, this drugs issue will be something that will be dealt with without favoritism, and we will look forward to see how the investigation goes. And thank you, CEO. Let's get to the next issue. How to do with the assets recovery thing. That had to do with Nora Finabono of first appearance of today at his criminal court. She went there with a barrage of prayer warriors from all over in support of her with all the allegations that have been leveled against her, how she exploited the country resources, took the money, and she had duplexes all over around the world. But yet, and still, poor mothers consider themselves as prayer warriors, going all at the criminal court in support of somebody who have been alleged of stealing the country resources, diverting it to her own personal account, building building duplexes for her family. I don't know how Liberians go about supporting those kind of people, yet and still they say the country is not developed. How will the country be developed when few group of people are diverting the resources that should be used to build hospital, to build school, to electrify the country, taking the money, putting it into their own covert? How do we expect the country to grow? These are some of the issues we'll be looking at on the CEO. Your take on that?
All right, so thank you, Jason. You know, at times we Liberians, we are our problem, right? We tend to do what I call selective favoritism. You know, during the regime of Finabono, right? The very people that are thinking that went there today as quote unquote prayer warriors, they were the same people that were saying the people eating our money. Now the law is taking its course. Finabono, the property, Finabono was just an ordinary person before coming to Limelight when she was the chief of protocol to former President George Weah. Now, all of those folks that came to power 2017 up to 2023, how many of them had those properties? Right? You're talking about people that we all were eating gari yoko, pepper kala on the street. But overnight, in less than 2 months, those people became millionaires, building duplexes, buying, expensive, living luxurious life. And now, if an investigation is ongoing to uncover, they are not saying Finabono is the case is not saying Finabono is guilty, but Finabono is going through an investigation. If she's found guilty, the law will deal with her. If she's not, she will be released. But the way in which we Liberians do things sometimes, it shows to people that we are not actually serious and ready for, serious business in our country. There is no need. All right. The image that is being shown to public today is that, as always, people were accused, or the Unity Party government is pick and choosing. Let's take, for example, the case with the former finance minister, Twah. That case that it is being reopened now because of quote unquote the temper with the jury. People went and bribed them. How will you hold the owner man accountable and leave the mean man that did the act? So it is a very good thing that the law and order is coming back to Liberia and before, where we have things happening and nothing can come out of it. And now we have issues that we're trying to probe into it to know actually the facts surrounding that. And I would say let the people get chance that they take it course. If Fina is not guilty, she'll be released and her assets will be returned back to her. But if she is found guilty, the law will take its course. So I know, man, we the one time to I know laws in that. Well, how seriously? Uh,
See, you are coming broken. You are coming broken. See you. So, like the issue of finna bonus, because are you there, CEO? So the you are coming broken, CEO.
I'm here. I
Okay.
said,
Mm-hmm.
uh, can you hear me now?
Your network is coming broken. Hello. Okay, you can rejoin. You can go and come back. So okay, much better now. Much better. Okay. So like we were saying, right? This issue happened to Samuel Twah, the entire public, the people saying Samuel Twah authenticated, he was not guilty. Why? Where in this world will someone be alleged of corruption? Nobody is saying Samuel Twah was guilty or he committed a crime, but they allege that there was some he was alleged of some malpractice on the leadership as a minister of finance. But the issues went to court. All his spending that was done through his wife as finance ministers. But the sad issue of this situation was a person who was alleged of distributing those money was left to say he was not guilty. But people who was alleged of he giving the money to them was accused of being culprit of this crime. And they say they facilitated. The court said they facilitated. They was the one who facilitated the crime. How can someone who facilitated a crime be a culprit, but the person who committed the crime be exonerated? That's the judicial system we have. But today, the funny part of the matter is Nora Finabono, the former protocol of President Weah, was invited by the asset recovery team. Well, it had been since almost a year now, and today was her first appearance at the criminal court. But it's the funny part of the issue is you see our mothers from all walks of life coming in defense of her, like prayer warriors. Finabono is not like this. She was that. The first thing to forget to know was Finabono was not. She was alleged. It is not like it's a final verdict that yes, she committed a crime. Can we give the judicial system the chance to do the needful by investigating the allegation and level against the former protocol former President George Weah? At least we'll create an avenue like the justice system will be fair and transparent. But in the case that somebody was just invited for the very first time, the entire women was invited, went to the court all in white in solidarity for Nora Finabono. How do we expect this investigation to go on for? This is just the first investigation. This is just a first appearance. What will happen if the investigations get into a serious case? A serious stage that everyone will be looking at the accused of someone who committed such a crime. How will that person be like? How will those mothers who are now passing around or going to the court in solidarity for Nora Finabono as prayer warrior? People in our country are be using the word of God. What do that mean? You take your time, you go through the Bibles, you say you are a prayer warrior, but now you are abusing this word of God just because quote unquote someone gave you $5 or $10 to go in support of this person. This is something that we should look at. By virtue of fact, once the investigation is going on, you guys should at least create an avenue for the investigation will be clear, transparent, void of intimidation or void of interference. But now you see our mothers, the money that was alleged that Finabono took to use it on her own personal use. Now people are going in support of her, people are going in her defense and all of those things as if to say the crime that been said Finabono committed, it was true or it is true. How can this investigation go on? And everybody are going to say the person accused is not the one who is doing this thing. She was not involved, and all of those things. So this major issue in our country is that people don't allow for investigation to take echoes. Everybody have its own side. You see, when Samuel Twah were quote unquote exonerated from the alleged corruption case from the asset recovery, you see people printing t-shirt all over. Twah is free, Twah is this, Twah is that. But now we are having confront information that they are jury temporary. Because if you look at it in your layman, I'm not a lawyer, in your layman sense, where will someone who committed a crime be exonerated, but person that facilitated a crime be accused of committing the crime? They say the person, the rulings came out like the person they are the facilitator of the crime. How do they become facilitator? Yes, they facilitated the crime. Yes. What happened to the person that committed the crime that they facilitated? Why was the person free? Why was the person exonerated? We're not looking at all of the case, but we just look at one scenario because everything like bro, everyone have their side to support. When it's in the John Brown issue today, John Brown have his or her people that believe in him. Definitely people will be in support of John Brown, but they forgetting to know the crime that was committed or that John Brown was alleged of committing. These are some of the problems in Liberia. These are some of the problems we are faced with. So we have to allow the code 16 to proceed. We have to allow the judiciary to work. We should not like interfere within the judiciary system to create the atmosphere that yes, indeed this issue happened. Then someone come there and say no, they are witch hunting. In Liberia, we always talk about corruption. Those are in government, those that serve our country. If they are being alleged, be able to give account of the services you rendered for the country. The time you spent to rent to work for the country, be able to give account of what you did during your administration. But now when people are called to give account of what the service they rent at their time or in certain position they are occupying, people consider it as witch hunt. So these are some of the problems we are faced with in Liberia, and it is causing everyone to get into government to do what is not right. Why will you be working for 500 but you are using more than 10,000 worth of material? Your salary is not as equivalent to what you are using. You are living in 2 million. Let's assume you are living in 2 million duplex, but you are making 1,000 or 2,000 like US dollar. Where did he got those resources from? Where the resources came from? People should investigate those things to know where you get the resources from because at no point in time will you be working for less than what you have. You cannot spend more than what you have. These are some of the issues that people should look at and stop looking at say the United Party is running after someone or the United Party is doing the one. But now everyone are closing their eyes on at the same time they say, oh, the government stealing our money, the government doing this one. But now you elect a different leader into power. Now those people that elect, they make a campaign promise that they will investigate the past leadership if they are elected. Now they are elected, they are investigating this situation. But now people are all passing around that they wish hunting. How can this be a wish hunt when you voted those same people for this cause? When they make a commitment to you during the campaign time that yes, indeed, if we are elected, we are going to investigate the leadership that is in power now about their stewardship, what they do with the resources that are given to them in their 6 year as in doing their 6 year as leader of the country or as or ruling party. So these are something which need to look at and do away with all of those things that have to do with wish hunt or in sympathy or solidarity for with people who one way or other manipulated our country. Stole our country resources, alleged stole our country resources, and they use it for their own intended purpose. So these are people also should not be accepted into our country. Into the system that we are all working with, because we are all now saying when you go to the hospital there is no medications. When you go to the university there is no facilities. The university not have laboratory. Like bro, university is like this, but yet they don't still the money that should be used to develop the university, the money that should be used to put medications, pain tablet, paracetamol into the various hospital. One person has stolen the money one way or other, allegedly stolen the money and sit on it, and be giving chicken change to us to go in support, in solidarity of such a person. But when we are all here crying, the government is not doing anything. The money the government should use to develop the country is one or two person, one or two people are sitting on it. How can the country be developed? How do you want for the country to be developed when few group of people are sitting down on the country resources? And now the government is trying to investigate those people who say, yeah, they are witch hunting them. Prayer warrior. Prayer warrior, the money that should be used to impact the life of your children. The money that should be used to facilitate the various health practitioners, health workers in the country. Few group of people sit on it. It takes chicken change to give to you to get on the street in support of them. That is very sad for our country. And I don't know what will be the next thing because this was a campaign promise that was made by Union Party that they are going to the George Weah administration. If Union Party at that time they are going to win, the CDC were going to give account of their leadership, of their stewardship for all the country. Now the government is doing it. Now people are all around say they are witch hunting. Is it why you call witch? Is it how you call witch hunt? When people cannot give account of their leadership, you are given $10 to use. Give account of how the $10 was used. Now people are asking those hard questions, but you are saying that they are witch hunting. CEO is up to you.
Jason, thank you. I was on the highway and my network kept dropping. Um, that's the like I was saying earlier on. The asset recovery team is doing their job. Now, when former President George Weah came into power, he had the opportunity with all the corruption names that were ranking during the term of Ellen from 2006 up to the time they came into power. They have that very good opportunity to, audit and go after who be the perpetrators, who those that the investigation would deem necessary to invite. They have the opportunity to do that, but they didn't do it, and that's what I said. If every Liberians can recall, Joseph Human Boakai administration doing their campaign, this is what they said. And now I don't think it is a witch hunt. It is not a witch hunt because if it were a witch hunt, we wouldn't have seen other people who work in the government be suspended whenever things come up. Okay, let's look at former Representative Swakoko Dennis. She's suspended, right? Why did she got suspended? She was a government official at Nuka. Why they suspended her? Because of her name was involved into some dubious act. All right. Now she alone, other people's name have come up and they have been suspended. Now, that's what responsible government do because Liberia is rich and Liberia resources should be able to take care of Liberians. But yet we have those resources and very few enjoy while majority suffer on a daily basis. And I think it is cheating on the part of the poor Liberians. Right? We struggle these days to go to school in Liberia. We have a resources that if it were well managed, Liberia should be one of the well developed standard educational country around the world because of what we have. But because of corruption and greed, we are not anywhere near those educated countries. And I think if our government is trying to do their job, they should be given that opportunity to do what they have to do. It is not a wish hunt. They're the same people that went to their quote unquote as prayer warrior. You go deep down and do further investigation, you realize that they either gave them small thing to go there as prayer warrior to go pray. So it is not a wish hunt to me. Let the answer and again, it is an allegation. They have not said Fina is found guilty. If Fina is found guilty, the law will take its course. If she's not, she will be released and her property will be given back to her. So let Liberians sit and let the government do their job. If in the future, if a different administration comes on board and it is their right to go after I call it Joseph Human Administration, do audit and find whoever that will be form of corruption and bring them to book. We will still sit there and say the same thing. But since they didn't do it, and this administration is doing it, letting allow Joseph Human Baka administration to do their job and let the Liberian people resources wheresoever. Because let's be real here, Jason. During the tenure from 2017 up to 2023, see what was happening in Liberia. All right, whether
When I
they
get
are you getting me?
Yeah, I'm getting CEO.
Yeah. So see what was happening in Liberia. You realize that people, and I think every responsible government should put those mechanisms into place that whosoever you take in as employee, especially people that occupy very major position, they should declare their assets. But none of those guys ever did during Joshua administration. So at the end of the day, all what we're saying today, whether somebody was rich before assuming a position, nobody know. And we all are Liberian. We see one another on a daily basis, or wherever somebody was before getting into government office. So I don't think a Liberian will say Finabono was so and so, or she had this before getting into office. And with all the millions, all the property acquired within the span of 6 months, it required thorough investigation and let Liberians sit and watch the law to take its course. That's my little input. I'm about to get off, and then since I'm home to use the computer, join you soon.
Yeah, thank you, CEO. Thank you very much. So like we were saying, right? The issue about once being alleged, allegation does not mean you are a culprit or I mean you are guilty. You just need to go to the court and exonerate yourself. Because the names, those we all are aware of those issues that happened back during those during President Weah leadership or administration. There are too many corruption cases. People was using money lavishly without even no accountability. If you can see, the asset recovery team will not just go and just go after individual without getting facts. Okay, there are a lot of people who work in the government during the past administrations. Why is it the asset recovery team is not going after all of them, but only a few group of people? These are people that are at the rim of our country resources. They sat on our country resources as alleged that they use it at the will and pleasure of how they want it to be used. Okay. So as of now, you say you are yes, you are occupying such a positions. That's good. Thank you for the service to the nations. Now come and give us accountability on how those resources that are given you during your 6 year tenure, how those resources were used. Now people taking it at different level. The United Party is fighting the CDC. Nobody is fighting. In my mind, I don't think anyone is fighting any other person. What is lacking in this issue is people don't want to give account of their stewardship. People don't want to give account of what they did at the time when they were in power. People don't want to give accountability of the resources that were given them at the time they were in power. So if you cannot give accountability of what you were given to, then that there should be something that there's something that people should know of, or there's something that people want to know that you don't want to tell them. No, there is nothing big about that. Go to the court or go to the asset recovery team. Tell them, you give me 1,000, I use it 1,000 for this, I use it 1,000 for this. I have all the resources or I have all the properties. I got my money from these places. I use it on this one. I use. If the evidence are clear and is sufficient, the court will not do anything more than getting you, or setting you free. So let us do away with this petty negotiation because of sentiment. Let the sentiment issues. Let allow the judiciary or the court to do their work, or those that are entrusted with the asset recovery team to do their investigation to bring all the facts. And if you know that the evidence are provided by the asset recovery team against you is not sufficient that will indict you, you have the right to go to court and provide all evidence, all of those information that are provided by the asset recovery team are not right. And I think there's a means that people will be in the court, they'll listen to all of the evidences and provide it. And if it is proven beyond reasonable doubt that those allegations leveled against you is not substantiated or is not enough, you'll be set free. But what we are calling for here is for our mothers, our fathers back home to give the judiciary a chance or to give the court chance to do their work. You cannot keep somebody who cannot be accused of committing a crime, but people are permeating all over the corridor of the court, claiming that the person is just a sin. The person is not what the asset recovery team say they are. But the first thing we should know that the asset recovery team is not saying you are a criminal. They are alleging or they are saying this so thing information they have about you at the time you are serving so and so position. Come and justify how do you get this access? How do you get this other one? Provide a proof, provide the evidence. Where did you get your resources from? If there is proven that yes, indeed, your resources were legit, it was legal, it was not anything that is corrupt, definitely they are going to set you free. But we are conscientizing our mothers to stay away from these court proceedings. The number of people, number of mothers that I saw today at the court, this is my first time to see people of such going to court to defend people. Our mothers should be the one to pursue issues of such, to put the government feet to fire, to see how best to provide avenue for those that serve in leadership to give accountability, how the country resources was spent on your leadership and all of those things. At least our mother are pushing cases like at least someone or big person rape, they are putting themselves together like this, seeking for justice. People will say yes, indeed, they are seeking for justice, but issues that we expect mothers to pursue, these are the issues our mothers sit down home comfortably without even pursuing because someone is not there to give them $5 or $10 to get on the street in the name of being in solidarity with that person. But the real issue here is we should allow our judicial system to give to go through the cases that are being alleged against our former government officials so facts can come on to know how best this issue will be resolved. But other than that, we cannot sit and allow people be passing around to create the argument that yes, indeed, they are witch hunting. They don't want this person or the government is running after those people. This is not good for our democracy. We should create an avenue for the judicial system or people who are tasked with responsibility to do the right thing. We are getting information on Smooth Network that the vice president, Women Pay, is saying that the vice president did not want, according to him, Women Pay right. The vice president did not want me at the Ministry of Mine and Energy. He said, I don't support his 2029 ambition to become president. He accused me of being a Gafwan guy. There was a quote from Women Pay or posted on Spoon Network. I don't know how authentic is the information that the vice president did not want the Women Pay when he was appointed by the army or the president. I don't know what the appointing power the vice president have that he will say you don't want someone and you will be removed. So we'll keep the topic for another day. We'll get fast about all the information that's been provided here. Aspect Women Pay, quoting Women Pay on Spoon Network. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for following the Riverside Talks. And we say press the share button and share the show. Keep following the show as we discuss sensitive issues that's affecting our countries, issues of prominence that we all have to be aware of. To say thank you very much for following the show and wheresoever you are following this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wheresoever you find yourself as per your location. Thank you for following the Riverside Talk. And we ask you to please share our show. And let's take a break and we're going to be right back.
Again, I go to school, cause no more money. I can't stand no more, cause no more food. Again, I go to school, cause no more money. Hey yo, excuse me, Mr. Genevieve. I wonder how you make your headlines in the press with this day. Although I read the news every day, but I'm really still getting confused now. And I just wanna ask you some questions. Oh, they say based on money, they say based on presidency, they say based on technology, they say based on war. Tell me, we are made of it. Oh, we are made of story. There is no job, no money, no hustle. We are made of it. We are made of story. There is no job, no money, no hustle. And take up coverage, the rainy season coming soon. In the ghetto, all the houses are full of leakage, nowhere to sleep. Come and see the widow, living in the street with her children. Since the daddy went to war to fight, he never did to see them. The children have no shelter, oh, children have no education. The children have no one to call their friend, the children have no food to eat. We are made of it, oh, we are made of slavery. There is no job, no job, no money, no hustle. We are made of it, we are made of story. There is no job, no money, no hustle. How many people do you love, man? How many people do you cherish? How many people do you love out there? Most especially women. No job, no money. No cause, no glory.
Thank you very much for rejoining. And we have major headlines. As we said this evening, we have 2 minute conversations. We have 2 minutes issue to discuss tonight. Like I just read, women pay, quote unquote, posted by Spoon Network that the vice president they don't want him at the Ministry of Lands and Mine, and on the basis of he is Gafon guy. That's why he was fought and removed at the Ministry of Lands and Mine. And other sources are saying too that Wompe is quoting, they are quoting Wompe that the vice president wanted to cover for dual corporate degree, but he did not, so he was forced to be removed from the Lands and Mine Ministry. So these are some of the conversations we're having tonight. CEO, have you followed that news?
So it just popped up on my phone when I was speaking earlier on. And the moment I got home, I saw the press release. That is quite alarming on a serious note. And that's one thing that we've been seeing on this platform over and over when it comes to quote unquote NEMA unity. Honestly, if you look at on pay, women pay, if we talk about somebody who is very much, determined, and when he say things, he stand by his word. One of them is on pay. Pay has been one of the, force behind Unity Party. Pay went through a lot of humiliation. A former Unity Party chairman got removed, and now when he left, it was Ami Moda. When Ami left, we had Luther Tappe. Now, with his statement, if that actually, because I want to listen to that clip myself, if that statement is actually true, then it means that was not actually appropriate. Because up to now, we still don't know why women pay was, removed. And it's like you took Nima man from there and put another Nima man there. And now we're talking about we want NEMA unity. How would this unity work hands in hands when we are picking and choosing who does what, who does this? Now, the issue of former soup degree, that was one of the public discussion, public opinion that took the social media for a very long period of time. And I think it was not something that you could just tell somebody, say, we want you to cover up. How would this person cover up? What kind of cover up are they talking about to say, oh, I did it, I enrolled him or what? So there are still questions around that. And once we get it from here, I will either call him on your WhatsApp or send him a message directly because I have his numbers. I will call him directly. Talking about honorable pay, we'll invite him here. Let him come through. Let's hear from him. Because
So
those
the- So the issue here is, for me, I saw the post. The issue is Woman Pay was once expelled from he resigned, or he resigned or expelled from Unity Party when the current vice president was nominated as running mate to President Joseph Boakai. It was it was a vice president now who encourages Women Pay to join the Unity Party. At first, Women Pay was in that they led that the Castle Party.
Yeah, he was the chairman for Castle Party.
Yeah, so when he was one way or other removed from that, resigned or removed from that the Castle Party, he was having no options until later on when the current vice president was nominated as running mate to President Joseph Boakai. On the basis of that, he brought Women Pay on board, and I think the coordination was fruitful. You can see Women Pay from county to county campaigning and all of those things. So coming up to say the vice president don't want him, or he is Gafon guy when the same vice president brought you back to Unity Party. For me, that's a contradiction that is there. How did you go back to a Unity Party that you was one expelled off? And the same vice president you are alleging to they brought you on board. All authentic is the information, like you said. I think we can have a fun time to invite him on this show to ask the tough questions of some of those information that is coming out.
Yeah, definitely. I will invite him to. I will speak to him here when we get off the show. I will try to get him and see if we can join us here Sunday or anytime that he's free. We need to actually get to the bottom of this, and I don't think it is a good idea. And you are right. Women Pay was expelled from Castle Party. He left Unity Party after the 2017 elections that brought a little friction between him and now President Boakai, because there are some decisions that they took along with the Secretary General, how you call him, Twah. And based on that, Pay was suspended, and they were going back and forth with that issue until at the end of the day he left and joined Cassell's party. He was with Cassell for some time until Cassell, removed him as chairman. So, Women Pay, he was not even in a readiness to go to CDC. So when Unity Party called him through, like you said, through now VP Kuhn, he came on board and they reconciled all the differences they have. Now, these are people that, what I'm trying to portray here is that if you look at Women Pay, these are people that stood up to former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf.
Yeah.
Women Pay stood up. When he said, no, Madam President, this got to be done. I think the problem with Women Pay and UP at the time started when Women Pay recommended that the former president should be expelled because she didn't support UP in 2017 and supported CDC. There were the friction and Reed Monroe started from Women Pay and some hierarchies in Unity Party, and he ended up leaving. And but with this statement that quote unquote the VP didn't like it because he's a Gafon guy and also he wanted to cover up, from the part that I saw was that it states that the VP has reached out to his wife to talk to he women pay so that he can cover up for Doug Cooper degree. Now, the whole issue with former soup credential, it was not something that was inherited. You in India, Jason, you studying very hard to get your degree, and then somebody you go look, maybe somebody that you knew before, you go look and say, oh, the person graduating from so and so university in Liberia. How will you think about it? How will you feel? Whereby you have been in the water, you've been sweating, making sure that you get your grades, you study hard to get your grade, and then you and somebody get a same degree. So that issue was not something that I don't think somebody will want to spoil their name for, to say, I want you called off for this person, because it was actually it was brought before the public, and literally everyone knew exactly what was happening. So you can't just coerce somebody to do what they want to do, knowing fully well that your name as a public figure, your name going to come out. So, like I said, we want to, hear from the house's mouth. We'll try to reach out to him and invite him here too as well. But all in all, it does not state something. It does not show a good picture, and it does not show anything that I think the unity we're talking about. It does not support the unity we're speaking about, and I think work needs to be done. We'll play our part. We'll bring the honorable man here.
Yeah, we have to, because this issue has to do with, I think we once talked about this Nimba unity.
Yeah,
it has to do with people who are beneficiary to this unity. Those are people who champion the unity of Nimba. So, like, Wimupe has been very, I think he's for what I'm aware of, he's very close to the vice president. He supported the vice president for the senatorial election back in Nimba, and they have been very good in all of those things. But coming at this stage saying that the vice president, I don't know, did all he could to take him from his post at the Ministry of Land, Mines and Energy, because he's a Gafon guy. I don't know, because see, look at this. Look at the various ministries within the current administration. Look at Ministry of Commerce, and look at Ministry of Land, Mines and Ministry of Labor. See the performance of Copper Crew. People that struggle with the parties, those are people he are bringing on board, qualified. Go to the Ministry of Finance. He had too many Lufians working there. Go to the various entities that have people from the various countries that are appointed as ministers or deputy ministers. They are bringing people from their countries and appointing them. But go to the Ministry of Labor at the time, Ministry of Mines and Energy at the time women pay was there. How many Nimba the woman pay push to that ministry? So you cannot have a poor positions and you sit you don't want to help anybody. This is not so my father inheritance or someone just saying that what he say, because I want to be straight. I don't want. No one is infallible. Let's assume that woman pay is straight. People assume that he's straight. He's like this. He might have a lapses to one with the other, but when you are given a portfolios or you are given the opportunity to help or to bring people, not just to take people that are not qualified, people that are qualified that can do the job, give them the privilege, give them the opportunity to work. But you're given the opportunity to serve as ministers, but the whole ministry was just, I don't know, was just like only him and few group of people working. A ministry should be comprising of people from diverse background working to the very ministry. While people that supported the party are striving to get a job, you get a job, is sitting, or you don't want to help. In my mind, I think those are some of the reasons that he was taken from the job. But until he can come in and justify or give authentic information as related to the information that is circulating on social media that the VP pushed his removal from a post at Ministry of Lands, Mines and Energy. But until then, I think he was a cause that he removed himself. because you cannot get a ministry that you need to employ people who are qualified to work, but you don't want to employ them. Like, bro, people are suffering for job, and people go to schools, they geologists are qualified to do those job, but you get a job, you don't want to hire them to work. How do you expect the government to create another avenue for citizens to work when there's no NGO, there's no company within the country? So these are some of the issues for me that confronted the army that led to his removal from the Ministry of Land Mass and Energy. Like you said, we wait one of these days to host him here to ask him the hard questions as relates to the information that is on Facebook about his removal by the vice president as clean.
Yeah, we will do that. Do we still have any other topic for tonight? Because we are now live. We are now live on Facebook. They're saying something wrong with our Facebook, so I'm trying to set it. So we might likely re-enter studio. So give me a chance. All right, so well, folks, if you're following us, it's the Twah River platform. We having some technical issue. We might go off the line, come back in. So Jason, we have to go off, end this one, and then re-enter.
Okay, see you.